Evening. Good evening to you, Sir Shawn.
Good evening, Sir Joe Mark. Good evening, guys. So this is the home screen of Autodesk Revit 2022. So as you can observe here, we have models and families. So there are three main extensions for the Revit. It would be .rvt, .rte, and .rfa. For the model or the project, the format will be .rvt. So if you see a file with the .rvt extension, it means that it is a project. While if you saw an .rfa family, then you already know that that would be a family or a component. The next is the .rte or the project template. On models, let's click new. Then we have here several available templates. Then by default, all of these templates are imperial. Okay. So if you have to choose your metric template or your desired template, let's go to browse. Then the purpose of this discussion, let us select default metric. Then click OK. So selecting a template will greatly affect the properties or the available families and components on your project. So I advise that if you are going discipline, let's say I use the default metric template, then I'll be using it for the architectural discipline. While if I am going to create or model on structural discipline, then I will choose the structural template. Then we have here the Revit 2022 user interface. So we have here the File tab, the Quick Access toolbar, the Ribbon tool, sorry, the ribbon panels, and the ribbon tools. We have here the Properties palette, the Project browser, the Status bar, the View control bar, and the Selection toggles. On the Ribbon tab, the tabs are divided according to the disciplines or the trade that you are going to work on. Let's say, for example, on the architecture tab, I have here several tools that I can use for creating architectural elements. Well, if I am going to work on structural or civil, I have here the structure tab, which contains the the structural tools. Okay, let's say I wanted to create a structural column, beams, slab, and so on. Then at the systems tab, we have here the tools I can use for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire pro. Okay. Then if I wanted to work on documentation, like creating text or annotations, then I have to go to the annotate tab. The next, if you can see here, we have we have two levels, and these levels are given by the default metric template. So the project browser contains all of the views and the family types that are loaded into your project. You have your floor plans, ceiling plans, elevations, the legends, the schedule and quantities, the sheets, and the families. So again, this might be different. The setup might be different if you used a different template. So again, it is defined by the default metric template. Then we have here the view control bar. So it is being used for changing the scales and the detail level of your view here at the working area. You can also change the visual style from wireframe, hidden line, shaded, or realistic. Okay, so that's the important points to remember on the user interface of Revit if you are a beginner. Let's proceed on creating walls. At the architecture tab, you can see here the tool wall. Then we have a drop down here. If we wanted to create architectural wall, structural, or wall by face. So in this discussion, we will use wall architectural. On the type selector, you can see here the different types of walls given by the default metric template. We have basic walls. So under basic walls, we have again different types. Then we have curtain walls and we have stock walls. So we will learn or explore the different of walls we can create on different types of walls we can create on Revit. But for the meantime, let us use the generic 200 millimeter. So at the options bar, here's the option bar. You can see here that we have an option to change it from height to depth. If you choose height, meaning your wall will start from the level 1, which is the base constraint, going up to your top constraint. The next, you can select if you wanted the top constraint to be at level 1 or to be unconnected. Level 1, level 2, or unconnected. So let us choose level 2. Then we have here the drawing tool. It is being used to create the different shapes of the wall you wanted to create. So from start, let us click for this from the start point to the second point. You can also input the value if you want. Say I wanted to create a wall with a 5 meter length. So I'll be typing 5,000 millimeter. Okay. And that's it. I've created your first wall on Revit. If we go on your project browser and go to the north elevation view, you can see here that a wall on elevation is also created. So again, if we create a wall on the plan view, you can also have it visible on or created on the elevation view and on 3D view. Okay. Then let us go back to the north elevation view. And you can observe here the base constraint of the wall is at level 1, which what we selected earlier for the base constraint value, and the top constraint is at level 2, which you can also see here. You can also modify the offset by placing a value here at the base offset and for the top offset. You cannot create a wall without levels first. So let us jump back to levels. So again, we have two type of two types of levels given by the default metric template, level 1 and level 2. And you can only see the levels if you go onto elevation views or section views. Let me try to select the level 2. If you select a level, you can see here several drag grips and check boxes, which you can manipulate to adjust the length or the height of your level. You can move it by just clicking and dragging up or down. You can also change the height of the level by changing the value. Let's say I wanted a level with 4,000 height, then I'll just place 4,000. Next, let us create another level. So if you wanted to create another level, you can just go to Architecture tab, then select Level here at the Datum panel. Again, levels are located at the Architecture tab, then Levels. Then click for the first point. And you can notice at the option bar that the Make Plan View is checked. And we have here the plan view types. Okay? We will understand that later. Then let us click to the second point. Then press escape. So the level 3 is 7,500 millimeter from 0 or from level 1. Again, you can just change the value if you want. And if you go on the project browser, you can notice here that we have additional views, which are the floor plans level 3, ceiling plans level 3, and we also have additional structural plan here for level 3. So meaning, once you created a level at the elevation view, there will be there will be automatically a created view here at your project browser, which is connected to the level that you created. That is because, again, if I created another level, the make plan view at the option bar is checked. And the plan view types, you have here the different types of view that will be created once you created the level. We have floor plan, structural plan, and ceiling plan. If you wanted to create ceiling plan and floor plan only, then all you have to do is unhighlight the structural plan. Okay? But if you do not want to create additional views here on your project browser, what you're going to do is to just uncheck the make plan view. Then I'll create another level, which is level 4. I'll just place it at a random height. Then I'll click at the second point to create the level. Here you can notice that the level head is colored black, while the other levels are colored blue. So if the level head is colored black, it means that there is no connected view for it on the project browser. Okay. But if it is colored view, then again, you already have your view on your project browser. What if you wanted to create additional view for the level 4 here on your project browser? Say you wanted to create a floor plan at level 4, but the problem is you cannot see it here on your project browser. So what you are going to do is you just go to the view tab, okay? Then plan views, floor plan. Then you can see here the levels with no associated view on the project browser. And let us select the level 4. Okay. Automatically, you will have the level 4 here at your project browser. Okay, again, that is on the view, plan views, then floor plan. Okay. Then I'll go back to level 1 since already tackled the levels. And if you can observe here, I have many tabs opened. So if it happens that I have so many tabs here, I can just click close inactive views. And close all of the inactive views except the view that is open or I am currently working on. So I'll go back to the wall again. And if you can see here, if you hover your mouse around the wall icon, there is a command WA. So on Revit, aside from the tools, you can also memorize the commands. But if you are a beginner on Revit, I advise that you use the tools or the icons instead of the command because it is much easier to memorize the command than to locate the icons here on Revit. Because there are tons of icons here that you can use. Okay? And I'll click wall again. Then at the options bar, we have here the chain unchecked. So what we are going to do is to check this one. Then click for the first point up to the second point. I can place it randomly. Then up to the third point, and fourth. So what you can observe when I am creating the wall is that it continuously creates segments of wall which are connected when I click on several points. Okay? That is because the chain command is checked. What if I untick the chain command and press escape again to terminate the creation of wall and click from first point up to the second point? First point, then click again. So if you can observe, the wall is terminated here at the second point. So at the third click, I will have to create another segment of a wall. Okay. So that is the purpose of chain. So if you are going to create continuous walls with several junctions, so it's much better to keep the chain checked. Okay. Then I'll just select this entire walls. I'll just click from the top left going to the bottom right. Then I'll hit delete. Then on the type selector, sorry, let me just create another wall. And on the type selector, I will choose the exterior brick on metal stud. I'll create a wall here, and I'll select the wall and go to edit type. So if you click edit type, then you will be prompted to a window where you can edit the properties of the wall. So one of the common setting that I am editing here is the structure value. So I have to edit this one. So I can see all of the layers that are contained on my wall. So the basic wall, exterior brick on metal stud have 9 layers. So from finish to structure up to the exterior finish. Sorry, up to the interior finish. You can change the function of a layer by just clicking the layer and by just clicking the drop down. Okay. So for this one, since this is a default type of wall, I won't change it. I'll just show you the process on how to edit this. So again, if you are going to change the function, just have to select the drop down. If you wanted to change the material, just have to click material and this 3 dots. We will go on to the material later. Then for the thickness, if you wanted to change the thickness, then you just have to input the value on the thickness. Okay. So again, as I said, we have several layers for this wall type, but I cannot see it here in the plan view. That is because the detail level of the level 1 is set to parts only. So in order to see the different layers on your wall, you have to set your detail level to fine. Okay? And if I zoom in, I can now see the different layers on my brick and on metal stud. Again, just have to select or change the detail level to fine if you cannot see the layers of your wall. Okay. Next, let us create another wall again by going to Architecture tab, click the wall icon, then let's choose generic 200 mm. And let's select edit type. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to create our own customized type of wall with 3 layers. So the best practice is to keep on duplicating the default type of walls if you wanted to create a new one. So you have to click duplicate. Then I'll just change this to 150 mm HB with plastering. Okay, and then click OK. So if you change the name, it doesn't mean that you change the value. So again, in order to change the structure values for your wall, you have to edit its parameters. Then go to edit and change the thickness. Let's say I have only 100 mm CHB. Then I'll retain this to structure. Then to add another layer, you have to click insert. I'll be adding two layers, the plastering for the interior and the plastering for the exterior. So you have to click insert twice. So commonly, the retained function here between the core boundary is the structure. So if we are going to set this function as finish, then we might just move it up or down. So let us just move it up and the other one down. And then let us change the function from structure up to finish one. If I am not mistaken, finish one means finish one means the exterior finish, while finish two is the interior finish. You can see which side you are editing by just looking here. See? So the upper part will be the exterior side, and the bottom part will be the interior side. Okay? We have successfully changed the function of the 1 and the 5 layer, the 1 and the fifth layer. Then let us change the structure to 100 and the thickness of the plastering, let's say 12.5 only or 25. Up to you. 12.5. Okay. Then let us change the structure material again by clicking these three dots. So if you click the three dot icon, you will go to the material browser. Then again, the common practice if you are going to create another type of material is to always look on default. Okay, based on my experience, you should always look on default, then try to duplicate, right click, duplicate. Let's say you wanted to make CHB or masonry units. Let's type in CHB. Then right after duplicating and renaming the material, I have to also duplicate the asset. Duplicate the asset. Okay, always remember this because there might be some issues if you do not duplicate the asset and replace this. Duplicate and replace. So if I click replace asset, I will be prompt to another window which is the asset browser. Then I just have to put on masonry. Sorry. Let's just type in CHB. We have CHB here. Or concrete masonry units. Skin. And enter. We have the Autodesk physical assets and also the appearance library. Usually there are more materials on the appearance library. Hmm. I think there are some issues on my asset browser. Just have to locate it manually. Let us just use this non-uniform running gray. Okay. Again, there are some issues on my material browser. I just have to fix this one by just selecting this. Let's just use brick color gray, okay? Or this one. Again, this might not be the setup currently on your software. There are just some issues when I installed my Revit. I haven't placed the materials or the material images properly. That's why it is happening. Then I'll just have to click OK. Then for the finish, again, so instead of creating another type of material, I'll just be using the gypsum wall board. Okay, click OK. Then this one also a gypsum wall board. Right. Then I'll click OK. And all right. So another type of wall is now created. So we have the 150 mm CHB with plastering. Then I'll just create this one by clicking on the first point up to the second point. Okay. So that's it. We have our new type of wall with 3 layers. We can view it on 3D by just clicking the default 3D view. Then I'll zoom in. And by default, the visual style is set to hidden line. If we wanted to change it to shaded, then we just have to select the visual style. From hidden line, let us try to select shaded. Okay. So what you will see here on the shaded view are the shaded type of material that you set on the properties. Let's say, for example, on this brick on metal stud, if I go to edit type and select edit and select brick common, on the graphics tab, again, this is brick common. On the graphics tab, you can see here that the surface pattern is set to brick 75 by 225 millimeter. So this is what you see on the shaded visual style. Obviously, also the color here. Okay. But when we set the visual style to realistic, what you must see here is the actual appearance of the material that you selected. So let's say this is brick common. Just have to locate the source. Again, if we set the visual style to realistic, what we'll see here is the actual texture of the material that you selected. Okay. Then let us go back again to level 1. Then let's create another type of wall. So what if you wanted to create a glass wall? So obviously we have curtain wall here, but what if you wanted to create another type of basic wall which is glass? Then again, what we have to do is to select a generic type of wall, then go to edit type, duplicate, and rename the type of wall to glass. Then on the structure, let us go to edit, then change the thickness to, let's say, 13.14. Then let's change the material to glass. Click and click OK. Then let us go to 3D view. So now we have a glass wall here. So I forgot to mention that if you go on the 3D view and you wanted to rotate or revolve, you just have to click the shift button, then your cursor, hold your cursor. Okay. Then let's go back to level 1. Then we also have here curtain walls. Same mode of creation, you just have to click to the first point, going to the second point. Then let us place exterior glazing. The next, the storefront. Let us just view the difference between these three type of curtain walls. Again, this is a curtain wall. It contains no grids and mullions. Then we have the exterior glazing. And the exterior glazing contains curtain wall grids now. Or there are several glass panels on it. Next, we have the storefront. So for the storefront, we have the curtain grids as well as the mullions. So again, this is storefront. We wanted to create an exterior wall with a glass exterior wall with mullions and curtain grids. Then you just have to select the curtain wall storefront. Okay, let's jump back to level 1. We'll create another wall. Then the last type is the stack wall. So in the stack wall, we only have one type, the exterior brick over block with metal stud. You just have to create a wall again. This is the stack wall. And if we go to the edit type, structure edit, you can see here that there are two types of walls that are created. First is the exterior brick on metal stud. Then the second one is the exterior block on metal stud. So basically, stock walls are two walls in top of each other. So we have the exterior block, which is at the bottom. Okay, sorry. I have to go to preview. I'll click preview so you can see the detailed layers. So again, this is the exterior block on metal stud, which is 900 mm. And this is the brick on metal stud, which is set to variable height. Meaning the only fixed height is the exterior block on metal stud, okay? Then this one is variable. So let us try to make a stock wall, our own stock wall. I'll just move this wall by just clicking and dragging it, going to left side. So on the stock wall, I think I will just create a glass partition with baffle wall above. So I'll be using the glass, and I will have a gypsum partition above. So again, basically stock wall is layers of wall on top of each other. So I have to create another type of basic wall, which is the gypsum. I just have to duplicate a wall again. Then I'll create gypsum. I'll click OK. So I'll just have to rename again and set to gypsum partition. I'll add 3 layers. I'll move the one layer down and one layer up. Then I'll set the thickness of the gypsum to 12.5. Just have to change this to finish, as well as this one, finish. Then the other one to 12.5. Then I'll set the thickness of the metal fairing or the metal channel to 125. Oops, sorry. 2, 97 only. 97. Again, this is a metal channel, so I have to change the material of it. Let's just find aluminum or metal. Okay. Or this one, metal stud layer. I just have to use this one. I'll change it to gypsum. Okay. Then next, let us duplicate the stock wall. Again, I'll just use the command WA. It's much faster. Stock wall, edit type, duplicate. Then I'll be creating a glass wall or glass partition with baffle wall above. Okay. Then I'll go to edit. Then let's say the glass partition usually is at 2,700 height. This might change, but for just for the purpose of this discussion, I'll just set this to 2,700. Then I will set the baffle wall or the gypsum partition at variable height. Okay. So again, the glass wall will be fixed at 2.7 meters. I'll click OK, and I'll click, sorry, at the options bar, I click chain, I'll tick chain, then create several segments of wall. Then I'll go to 3D view. And here we can see clearly the glass partition and the baffle wall above. So this is perfect if you wanted to create an office partition, let's say an enclosed office or a meeting room with glass walls. Then I'll just select all of these elements again and delete. Let me just pause for a moment and find the CAD file that I created for your exercise. So now we learned the basic creation of the different types of walls. Let me go to the east elevation view now here at the project browser, and let me just try to place the values of the levels properly. I'll delete this. Then I'll go to level 1. Then I will go to Insert tab. So what I am going to do is I will insert an AutoCAD file here. So you can create from scratch, or if you have a reference like a CAD file, you can just import it onto your Revit. So for the purpose of this discussion, I will just import a CAD file. So I'll go to Insert tab, then Import CAD. So I will load floor plan level 1. Then I'll select current view only. So again, the current view is level 1. If I didn't tick the current view only, this CAD file might appear on your 3D views and might contribute for the file size of your project. I'll click open and I will zoom in. So here on Revit, by default, we have a white background, but we can always change it by going to the File, then Options. So I just showed you why I am going to change the background. That is because I cannot see properly the lines from my imported CAD. Graphics, I will go to Graphics, Background, then change the color to black and click OK. So that is one option for you. Then another option is revert back to white background. Click OK. So again, the second option is by changing the settings of the colors to invert. Okay. Then click OK. So obviously, the lines are now much visible. And it's more appropriate to the white background. So let us try to trace these walls. I'll go to Architecture tab, then select Wall. Then let us use the generic 200 mm. Then make sure that the base constraint is set to level 1 and the top constraint is set to level 2. Then for the location line, again from the word itself, the location line is where the justification is being held. Let's say I'll set this to finish face exterior. Then I know if I click and create a wall, this side where I hover my mouse is the exterior side. Now, you can just flip it by clicking the space bar. Okay, click. Okay, so now we have the exterior walls. You can go to 3D view to take a look at it. Then I go back to level 1. Now what if I wanted to place doors or windows? So what I am going to do is just to go to the architecture tab, then select door. Then on the type selector, you can just select the size of the door that you wanted to place on your project. Let's say I have this 915 by 1134 millimeter height door. So on Revit, if you are going to place doors and windows on walls, you do not have to create an opening for it. So what will the door and the window do is that it will automatically create an opening by itself if you insert the door on it. Because again, the door and windows are typically wall hosted. And another door again. Over your mouse on the wall and you can flip it by clicking the space bar. Now this is a different size. So how can I measure this door? So we have an option here to select the temporary dimension and to quickly measure between two references. So I just click this icon, then measure the length of the door panel. So this is 1075. Then I'll go back to the door tab or tool, I'm sorry, and change the parameters. I just have to go to the edit type, then duplicate, and I'll change name to 1075 by 2134. Click OK. Then I'll change the width to 1075. Okay. Then click to place. All right. So we have already placed the doors. And now let us go and insert windows. So on this case, the problem is I cannot see the windows on the AutoCAD file or on the reference because it is being overlapped by the walls that I created earlier. So one of the solution for this is to click the imported CAD file and change the drawing layer to foreground. So what will happen is that it will bring the CAD file to the front. Now you can be able to see where the windows are. And now if we wanted to place the window, just have to select window or WN. Then let's go to edit type or sorry, let us click the type selector. And let us select the M casement double. Let's say the 1200 by 1500 millimeter wall. But the seal height by default is set to 900 if you look on your properties palette. So on this case, I will not adopt the sizes of the window. Just create another window by clicking WN. Okay. In here, so let us try to look if there is a sliding window. So the problem now is that we do not have this kind of window loaded into our project. So the solution for this is to just load the family or the component. Again, just have to create a window. Then if you wanted to load a window which is not yet on the project, just have to select load family. Then just browse where the library is located. So again, if you are on the metric units, then it's much better to load a metric type of family also. So I'll choose English metric, US, then Windows. So there are a bunch of families here on the library folder. So do not worry because if you install the Revit software, these libraries are also included as well. Then just have to find the sliding window. This one. This might do. So click open. And after that, I'll be prompt to select the different sizes. Let's say I'll just load this up to 1.8 meter and click OK. Then I'll use 900 by 1.9 by 1.1. Then click. So now, the problem now is that my window is not aligned to the reference. So how can I align this window to the reference? So what I'm going to do is to go to the Modify tab, then find the Align icon, or for the command, you can use AL. If you're going to use Align, it's the first thing that you're going to do is to select the reference, okay? So this might be confusing sometimes, but please always remember that the first click will be the reference. Then the second click will be the element you wanted to adjust. Okay. Again, L or click this icon, select the reference, then the element you wanted to align. Okay. And WN again for window, then AL, Select the reference, then the element you wanted to align. All right. You can also flip the window by just selecting it and flip. And you can also flip going left or right or mirror. So that's it. Then we have this fixed window here. So I think this windows will protrude going to level 1 up to level 2. So we might not just do it right now, and let us jump onto creating floors. So on creating floors, just have to go to the architecture tab again. Then we have here the floor architectural and structural. So again, if you wanted to create a structural floor or a structural slab, then you might just select floor structural. But if you wanted to create the floor finish, then just have to select the floor architectural. But sometimes, on some cases, it is being combined. So let us try to combine the structural slab and the floor finish by creating two layers on a single floor type. So we have here generic 150. I'll just change this by editing the type and duplicate. And I'll just name it as customize floor. And I'll click OK. Then go to edit. And on the structure, let us just leave this to 150 and insert another layer and move it up. Then let's say we have 50 mm for the screed and the floor finish. Let us just include the screed here or the substrate as well as the tiles, okay? Then I'll just have to find tiles or a wood parquet. I think this might do an oak flooring, but I do not have the image for the material, so let me just find it. Floor, then hmm. So in this case, I'll just use the oak. It might be time consuming if I find the file that I wanted. Then for the graphics, I will set the surface pattern to a wood board. So we have different pattern types here on Revit. So we have a drafting fill pattern and a model fill pattern. So I'll be using model and I'll use wood board wide. I'll click OK. I'll click apply, then OK. So here at the assembly or on the preview, you can observe that we already created two layers. for a single type of floor. We have the slab and we have the substrate combined with the floor finish. And I'll click OK. So to create the boundary of the floor, you just have to draw the lines. Let's say I wanted to create a straight line, or I can also pick walls if I already have walls on my project. So I just can trace the outline, or I can also use pick line. So in this case, I'll just use pick walls and click. I'll use the flip icon. Then this one. Then on this case, I'll use line since this is a partition for the toilet. So basically this should have a different type of floor. Then I'll press escape. Then I'll try to click finish edit mode. So if I click finish edit mode, there will be a warning here and the creation of floor is unsuccessful. So here it states that the lines cannot intersect each other. So it means that on creating floors, or if you are on the sketch mode, if you see magenta lines on the creation on your drawing area, it means that you are on the sketch mode and there are rules for it. So mostly you should have no intersection like this one. So the solution for this is to trim. You can just use trim extend to corner. Again, that is on the modify tab. The shortcut for it is TR. Right? Then click the second line you wanted to trim or extend. This one, and this one. Next, what if I accidentally place a line overlapping onto each other? There will be a warning, but you can just ignore it by clicking X. But if you click Finish Edit Mode, again, it will show a warning for you. Again, on the sketch mode, you can not also have overlapping lines. Okay. The good thing here is that the overlapping line will be highlighted. Okay. It is not obvious, but it is highlighted. So you'll have to continue and click modify and select the line and the overlapping line and delete it. Another case is that if the boundary is not in closed loop, I have a gap here and I click finish edit mode, again, I cannot create the floor. Again, I have to trim this one. So those are the rules that you have to remember if you are on sketch mode. First, the lines must be in closed loop. Second one, the lines must not be overlapping onto each other, and you must avoid cross intersections. So in this case, I think it's good now. The height offset here is perfect. It's set to 0 by default. And I'll click check. Okay. And now I have my floor here. Go to 3D view to look at it. Okay. Then I'll go back again to level 1. And now I'll just draw toilet partition as well as to create a door for it. I'll select it again and change the type. So if by accident you create or you place a family onto your project which is wrong or is incorrect, you can just click it and go to the properties palette and change the type. You do not have to delete it and paste it. Okay. So you might save few clicks by just selecting and finding the correct type. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So now you have the floor created on your project. So what if I wanted to create a floor with slope, let's say a ramp? So again, there is an option here to create a ramp by selecting the ramp icon or the ramp tool. But in this case, I will teach you how to create slope if you create if you select the floor tool. I'll just change the type to generic 150. Then I'll create a rectangular floor, just like this one. Any size will do. Then I'll try to place the slope by clicking the slope arrow or by placing a slope arrow. I wanted to emphasize again that the height offset is at 0 from level 1. Then create by just clicking the start point, going to the end point. So how can that create a slope and how can you determine the slope? By just selecting the slope arrow. So what you're going to do is to check its constraints. You can specify the height at tail or you can specify the slope. Okay. If you select specify the slope, then you have to change the value or the parameter here at the dimensions, below the dimension. We have slope, then just type in what value you want, say 18 degrees. Then you also have the height of tail. So the height of tail, if you select this one, you can have the option to set the offset value. Let's say the height at tail is at 300 from level 1 and the height at head would be 0 from level 1. So this is the head, then this is the tail. So if I wanted to change the value, let's say I input 600 and apply, then I know that on this part, and then I know that this part is 600 above the level 1. Okay, and this part at head is at 0 from level 1. I'll click check. And we can verify that by going to an elevation view or going into a section view. So I wanted to go to a section view, but I do not have any section icon here or even the project browser. So the solution for that is to go to the quick access toolbar. You can create a section here, or you can just go sorry, to the view tab and select section. Then click for the second point, for the first point up to the second point, then press escape. Now in order to go to the section view, you just have to go to your project browser, or if there are a bunch of sections and you can't remember what is the name of section you just created, you can just click the section icon and then right click, go to view. Okay. So now we can verify that this one is a sloping floor or a ramp. And you can check by placing temporary dimension from this edge up to the level 1. Okay. And let's go. I'm creating another floor and let's go on in depth. Let's go into an in-depth discussion on modifying the floor. So another way of creating different elevations on your floor is by selecting the floor and clicking modify sub-elements. Here you can manipulate the edges as well as the points on your created floor or on your existing floor. Let's say on this point, I want this to be 500 above level 1. You can just click or input the value, and here you can place 300, then enter. So we now know that this point is 500 above level 1 and this point is at 300. Then let us go back to the 3D view again and verify. Skip. And that's it. So that's how the modify sub-element works. And let's say on your existing floor, you wanted to create another point or another split line, you can just use these tools here. Let's say add point, add split line, and pick supports. Say I wanted to add a split line here. And I wanted this split line, sorry, be at 0 also. And I just place the value. And that's it. So this part is at 0. Then this one now is, this part now is sloping. Okay. So in this discussion, we learned how we explored the Revit 2022 user interface, the basic tools for creating and modifying walls, placing doors and windows on Revit, then creating floors and ceiling, as well as I provided also some tips which might be useful if you work on your project. And again, here's our basic output.
And but we're done with creating floors and ceilings, right? Or
Yeah,
not yet?
right. Also, I also discussed the elevations, the levels, the project browser, basically those inputs that are fundamental if you are a beginner on Revit. Thank you, Sir John Mark. Thank you, guys.
Ayan.
If you have questions po, you can message us.
Yep.